It's up to him. He gave me that opportunity to fight him. It's only right that if that's what he want to do, I'll give it back to him. Outside,
they're fighting ErrolSpence versus TerenceCrawford 2.
The rematch between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence is heating up, and this time, it's personal. When they first faced off in July 2023, there was no doubt about who the superior fighter was. Crawford delivered a dominant performance that left fans stunned and Spence outclassed. What was expected to be a competitive back-and-forth battle turned into a one-sided demolition. Crawford dropped Spence 3 times and finished the fight, in the 9th round, becoming the first undisputed welterweight champion of the 4-belt era. Since then, both fighters have moved up to the 154-pound division, but the rivalry is far from over.
Could happen. I mean, why not? If Crawford want to challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great. So you know what I'm saying, I'm with it. So I'll be going for Bud. If he fight Canelo, I'll be going for him.
Talks of a rematch are gaining momentum, and both men are already firing verbal shots as the anticipation builds. Errol Spence Jr. is on a mission for redemption. He's been candid about what went wrong in the first fight and insists he's doing everything possible to make sure history doesn't repeat itself. In recent interviews, Spence has revealed that he's training harder, fixing past mistakes, and believes he has what it takes to knock Crawford out in the rematch. He's not just aiming to win. He wants to end the fight early. This time I'm putting him down, Spence declared.
Besides his immediate rematch clause?
I don't know if it's gonna be at 54 or 47, but I'm sure he's probably gonna push the weight up. But there's not gonna be no change in the decision. The performance still is gonna be the same. It might be even a little bit better. So he might want to watch out before he activates the rematch clause.
Declared. I've been focused, correcting what I didn't do right, and I'm going to show the world what I'm truly capable of when I'm at my best. But Crawford doesn't seem the least bit concerned. In fact, he appears more entertained than threatened by Spence's newfound confidence. In an interview with sports analyst Stephen A. Smith, Terence Crawford opened up about what it was like facing Errol Spence in the ring. He recalled a moment early in the fight when Spence landed one of his best punches, a clean overhand left. But Crawford said he barely felt it. I remember him throwing a big overhand left and catching me right on the button, Crawford said.
A really good fight. I think, nothing to respect, but I picked Crawford. A lot of skill. Power. I think he's really a smart fighter.
I think Crawford's gonna do a number on him. Stylistically, he's more diverse. He has better technique. He moves around more, and I love Spence. I mean, he's a great fighter, but Crawford he knows how to change it up, switch it up.
I thought to myself, this is it. That moment told Crawford everything he needed to know. I knew right then it was going to be a long night for him. The phrase, "this is it," stuck with fans. A powerful statement that summed up Crawford's take on Spence's power. His message was clear. Spence doesn't hit hard enough to
my first.
Because I don't want us personally, we talking about what we want to see. I don't want to see it. Because I know what it's going to look like. The same as it looked last time.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Errol Spence wasn't the same.
What was wrong with him?
He looked slow. He looked he looked sluggish.
Why?
I can't tell you. I wasn't in camp.
At the division, he dominated for his entire career. All of a sudden, when it came time for this fight, he looked different. Why?
I wasn't in camp with him. I can't tell you.
To hurt him. And if he can't hurt him, Crawford is fully confident he can outbox him again. Errol Spence Jr.'s record still speaks volumes. 22 knockouts in 28 wins. He's stopped elite opponents like Kell Brook, Chris Algieri, and Yordenis Ugas, earning a reputation as one of the most powerful punchers in the division. Before the Crawford fight, his power was widely respected, but after the beating he took last time, that narrative has started to shift. Fans and even fellow fighters are beginning to question whether Spence's strength is enough.
Even ranked in the WBC, 154 pounds. How the hell is he #1 today? You may be excited about, Spence possibly getting back in the ring with Crawford. But I see this as another way of them trying to ice out my man Crawford. They are not going to give him the opportunity for that man to make history, undisputed in 3 weight classes. So you may see it as good news. I see it as bad news.
Enough to trouble someone as skilled and composed as Terence "Bud" Crawford. But Terence Crawford, on the other hand, came into the 154-pound division riding a 10-fight knockout streak. Though he won his debut at the higher weight class by decision, not by knockout, it sparked some questions about whether his power would translate to the new division. Still, Crawford looked sharp, composed, and completely in control. I
think that Spence might have been a little hangry in his last fight due to weight issues. The key to success for Spence is nailing that weight situation. Seriously, in his last fight, he looked like he missed a buffet or two. People said he looked like a zombie who took a wrong turn into the boxing ring. I mean, really, he looked so drained that even the bottom feeders at 147 and 140 could have given him a run for his money.
Now holds the WBA super welterweight title, while ErrolSpence Jr. is currently ranked #1 by the WBC in the same division. Spence is expected to face Sebastian Fundora later this year for the full WBC title. If he wins, the stage will be perfectly set for a high-stakes rematch between Crawford and Spence. Rematch between Crawford and Spence would be huge. 2 champions, 2 belts, and all the pride from their first clash back on the line. What makes this second fight even more compelling is the contrast in their mindsets.
I believe Crawford, even though, fought twice, throughout the year, Crawford, was...
But look who he beat.
Undisputed.
Look who he beat. Look who he beat. What he did to Spence, and how he did it. That's 3 fights to me. And it took 4 fights out of Spence, right? I'm a fighter, so I can tell you when you get punished like that.
Yeah, I was there ringside watching the fight.
It was years out of you. Don't see the years right now.
Spence is laser-focused and determined. He firmly believes that the first fight was just a bad night and that a sharper, stronger version of himself can flip. Behind the scenes, he's been quietly putting in the work, refining his game and rebuilding his confidence. For Spence, this isn't just about revenge. It's about proving that the first fight didn't reflect who he truly is as a fighter.
That's a good win. I'm still a fan. I hope he do well. But once it got to the point where I moved up in weight and I'm in the same weight as Spence, it's just like, oh man, you ain't fighting nobody. You this, you that, you this, you that. So now they trying to blemish my accomplishment just to boost him up. I'm like, dude, you're not gonna do that. Because I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He could. Everything that I've accomplished, he's still trying to accomplish. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him. I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades that he...
The Crawford, meanwhile, remains calm and confident. In his eyes, he's already proven everything he needed to in their first encounter. From the opening bell to the final punch, he dominated Spence. For him, the rematch isn't about settling a score. It's just another opportunity to show that the gap between them is too wide to close. If the rematch happens, and all signs point to it, it's set to be one of the most anticipated fights of the year. Not
Brooke coming off of a loss, an eye injury. He beat Sean Porter.
In all fairness, he had to go over there to get that.
Like I said, that's a good win. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him or,
I understand
things like that, but
right.
I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades that he did.
Just because of the titles or the talent, but because of the intensity, the pride, and the story behind it. Spence is coming for redemption. Crawford is coming to remind everyone who's in charge. And the war of words between Terence Crawford and ErrolSpence Jr. has escalated, from typical trash talk to deeply personal jabs. And the boxing world is watching like it's must-see TV. Crawford isn't just satisfied with having beaten Spence. Now, he's going after his legacy. In a recent interview,
went on Pound for Pound podcast and he said that ErrolSpence will not be a Hall of Famer. Can you just give me your thoughts on that?
I disagree.
You disagree? Why do you disagree?
I feel as though Errol had a great career. If it wasn't for Bud, he would have been undisputed. So he went and got every belt one by one by one. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Crawford landed a verbal blow that cut deeper than any uppercut. He openly questioned whether ErrolSpence even deserves a spot in the Hall of Fame. Let that sink in. The rivalry has gone beyond the ring, and now it's about pride, reputation, and legacy. For a fighter like Errol,
it was long enough, no Diddy, to automatically put him in the Hall of Fame. He was a very good fighter. If there was a Hall of Very Good, he would be going into that. But Hall of Fame, no. If you were in charge of writing the Hall of Fame speech for ErrolSpence, and I was in charge of writing a Hall of Fame speech for Bud Crawford, my Hall of Fame speech, listing my credentials, listing my accolades for Bud Crawford, would sound a lot better than your speech for ErrolSpence, bro. Yeah.
Spence Jr., who once ruled the welterweight division with calm, calculated dominance. Crawford's statement hits hard. This is the same Spence who defeated elite opponents like Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Lamont Peterson, Kell Brook, and Chris Algieri. He unified titles and, up until that night in
contract, so it's not if I'm open to it or not, it's, what's in the contract. And Errol gave me an opportunity and a shot at becoming the first male boxer, undisputed, in any division in the 4-belt era, and I honor, that. And if he was to come to me or activate his rematch, then I honor.
Las Vegas looked nearly unbeatable. Yet Crawford, cool and composed as ever, dismissed it all without hesitation. "Spence doesn't have a Hall of Fame-worthy resume," he said, a comment that immediately ignited a firestorm online. The tension between the two has gone far beyond belts or records. Now it's personal. Not everyone is buying Crawford's bold claim. Fellow boxer and rising star Shakur Stevenson came to ErrolSpence's defense. Speaking on the best women's boxing show, period, Stevenson said, "I disagree. I feel as though Errol had a great career. If it wasn't for Bud, he would have been undisputed. He went out and got every belt one by one by one. I think he's a Hall of Famer." And Stevenson's not wrong. Before facing Crawford, Spence was that guy, the most feared man at 147 pounds. He didn't win belts through vacant title fights or carefully selected opponents. He earned them the hard way, one elite name at a time. ErrolSpence beat real champions to earn his titles, and when the time came for a true undisputed showdown, he stepped up. He just got beaten by a better man that night. But one loss doesn't define an entire career. Crawford knows that, which is why...
Yeah, man, we definitely want that rematch, because a lot of what y'all fair weather fans don't understand is that this situation from ErrolSpence, we never seen him get demolished like that. We obviously seen that it was something wrong. Nobody's not making up excuses or want to take anything from TerenceCrawford. So that's why nobody ain't running away with the horse, you know what I mean? But we obviously knew that something was up. That's why
his recent comments feel less like genuine critique and more like calculated provocation. Crawford is stirring the pot, not just to prove his point, but to get inside Spence's head and fuel the fire for a potential rematch. This is psychological warfare at its finest. Crawford is doing what he does best, getting inside his opponent's head long before the bell rings. He knows ErrolSpence is plotting his comeback. He knows the rematch. Talks are intensifying, and most importantly, he knows that poking at Spence's pride is the quickest way to drag him back into
convince the fans and the people back in that fight that it should happen.
I think he's been out for a year, so maybe there was some ring rust as well. And also, styles make fights. That guy's got a bit of a different... He's got some attributes that Canelo has, his explosiveness, his power, but he still has a different style than Canelo. So styles make fights. I feel like if Terence could get a little more busy, a little more active, it could do him better. And at that point, I really wouldn't put anything past Terence. He's a special man.
The fire. Let's be honest. Crawford wants the rematch. He's stirring the pot and setting the stage for another showdown, one where all the mind games and bad blood will play a huge part. This
fight isn't just about belts or money, it's about legacy.
If Crawford beats Spence again, this time at 154 pounds, after all the talk, doubts, and questions, There won't be a single debate about who the true king is in the division. But if he can rattle Spence's confidence before they ever touch, gloves again. He's already halfway to winning the mental battle. However, there's another side to this. If ErrolSpence Jr.
Salty, considering Spence is his best career win? Is it jealousy over Spence's PPV success? Remember, Crawford's recent fight only pulled 200,000 buys. Spence has proven doubters wrong before, bouncing back from that crazy accident in 2019.
Jr. is truly serious about his return. These comments might be exactly what he needs. This isn't the same Errol who walked into that first fight. The man who survived a near-fatal car crash, fought off rust, and may have bitten off more than he could chew, is gone. This time, Spence will have something to prove, and the pressure will be on Crawford's shoulders. Make no mistake, Spence is still dangerous. Yes, he's been inactive since July 2023.
That's the fight I want to see. I want to see Bud be great, but what better buffer to see if Bud's ready at 68 than the EJ rematch of 54 and 60? And how exciting would it be to watch ErrolSpence he walks at 190. I'm 185 pounds right now. I'm 5'11". To think of me cutting
And yes, he's 35 now, not the fresh-faced champion he once was. But this isn't a washed-up fighter looking for a payday. Spence has been quietly training, rebuilding, and retooling. When he steps into the ring again, whether against Sebastian Fundora or directly back at Crawford, he'll be carrying the full weight of vengeance in his gloves. He's already said it. He wants to correct his mistakes. He wants to shut Crawford up. If they do meet again, especially at super welterweight, don't be shocked if Spence walks in like a man possessed. The question is, can Crawford handle that version of ErrolSpence? And so, where it gets controversial, TerenceCrawford has been moving a little differently lately. After beating Israel Madrimov by decision in his 154-pound debut in August 2024, not by knockout, he set his sights even higher. Canelo Alvarez.
No, but yeah, it's definitely my call. The ball's in my court. What they say, I'm the A side.
That's a massive payday, a legacy-defining fight, and potentially a retirement-level cherry on top of an already illustrious career. But the question is Crawford looking past Spence? If Crawford's more focused on chasing Canelo than defending his throne, he might step into the rematch underestimating a man who's been quietly sharpening his sword in the shadows. And that's where upsets are born. When a fighter overlooks their opponent and gets caught off guard. The truth is, Crawford is playing a dangerous game. He's poking the lion, taunting a fighter who has nothing left to lose. While mind games are part of the business, Spence isn't the type to let that slide. If this rematch happens, and it's looking more and more like it will, it won't just be about belts or records. It'll be about pride.
But weight can be used as an excuse and sort of say, I don't feel like it. Like, I'll go up for this guy, but not another guy. So, that's sort of the spirit. The language is very, more precise and very definitive. But the concept is, out of fairness, is, let's not be selective. There are